listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, and this week's episode is for Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024. For this week's episode, my brother Danny returns to the show to do a track-by-track review of the Black Keys' newest album, Ohio Players. I'm excited always excited to do track-by-track review episodes of the podcast, but I'm really excited for this one because this particular album is brand spanking new. It was just released last Friday, April 5th, so it's pretty cool to go ahead and take something brand new to talk about it and actually hopefully win some people over. If you are familiar with the Black Keys or you're more familiar with some of their earlier stuff and you listen to this episode and like it'd be really, really awesome experience, I think, for you and for me to know that people are enjoying it enough that they want to check out albums that we're talking about on the show. So we talk about the Black Keys' newest album, Ohio Players, track by track, and it's always great to catch up with Danny. So stay tuned for that. Before we get to that part of the show, I wanted to go ahead and talk about March Madness. So just give a report back to those who've been listening and knowing that I've been participating in brackets. I won. I'm excited to report that I actually won online sports betting, like fantasy type thing, after losing fantasy football many, many, many times. Never winning a championship in fantasy football. I did win the March Madness bracket. So I'm excited, really excited to report that. I picked UConn to win the title, and I actually did predict the final of UConn versus Purdue. The final was a little anticlimactic, but at the same time, I'm still just happy that I picked the winner. I had 42 out of 64 correct guesses, so a percentage of 65.6% correct. So not too shabby, not too shabby at all, if I do say so myself. But I had a lot of fun. So we participated in a bracket group with friends from church. Some of the friends that I had actually were just a few points behind me, so I just barely won, but technically I won. So I get to hold the trophy, and we also are going to be throwing like a little get-together shindig party for those who participated, and I get to pick the dessert as the winner. So that's really cool. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about some entertainment news again before we get to my conversation with Danny about the Black Keys' newest album. As you know, I've been talking about the new Karate Kid movie frequently on the podcast because I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I'm really excited to do a 40th anniversary episode for the original Karate Kid later this summer. But so I was excited to hear the news that Ming-Na Wen of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Mandalorian has officially signed on for the new Karate Kid movie with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. So it's really cool and exciting to have her on. She's a huge fan favorite actress. She has a great relationship with the fans. She's constantly posting and interacting with fans on social media, which is cool. In fact, she officially announced on her Instagram account, I think a week or almost 2 weeks ago, that principal photography for the new Karate Kid movie has officially begun, which is exciting and encouraging news because, as you know, I've mentioned it on the show, I didn't think they were going to make their deadline for an April 2024 release. So basically this Christmas, December of 2024, so Christmas time release for the new Karate Kid movie. I didn't think they were going to make it, but it looks like they're on pace to do so, which is pretty cool. But that being said, though, I do have to share some unfortunate news. I saw this heard this audio clip from Collider, and Collider, they do really cool stuff. They're an entertainment news site. And they've had many guests of the Karate Kid franchise on their show talking about the franchise. So it's obvious that the people at Collider like the Karate Kid. I did hear some disheartening news from one of their recent shows. Let me go ahead and insert this audio clip for you.
I think it's so weird that you're going to have Ralph Macchio in this film, but it's not tied to Cobra Kai. But it's so dumb. Not dumb, but it's confusing that you have a split in the timeline of the Karate Kid universe. It just is a strange thing to do.
I'm almost curious because I know that they confirmed that it's not going to be connected, but I'm holding out hope that what they're actually going to do is just say narratively this isn't connected, but it's still in the same universe. That stuff happened, but it's just not going to factor into this at all. Yeah. It seems weird to do that, but especially with how popular Cobra Kai is, I don't understand it. I don't know. But honestly, I'm not going to say no to a Jackie Chan movie pretty much ever. So the opportunity to see him there, and also just the opportunity to see more Ralph Macchio, I'm not going to complain about.
So the first thing actually from the audio clip that I would mention is that there are quite a few Jackie Chan movies that you absolutely should say no to. Like Around the World in 80 Days, his remake of that movie, and The Tuxedo with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Both those movies suck. But no, I get where he's coming from, and that Jackie Chan movies are usually really entertaining and cool. Like the Rush Hour franchise, obviously. And I'd also even throw in the Shanghai franchise with Owen Wilson, Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights. It is a little disheartening to hear that news that the new Karate Kid movie isn't necessarily going to be tied into Cobra Kai, especially with the Cobra Kai final season 6 releasing potentially around the same time. So I mean, to me, that seems just a huge missed opportunity. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what, movie studios aren't that stupid, right? I mean, yes, Hollywood's pretty dumb, but even Sony, they're not that dumb, right? Okay, so to be honest though, I do like what they said though, that it doesn't necessarily have to tie in directly, even if they just kind of name drop people or references or events from Cobra Kai on this new Karate Kid movie. I think it still could be pretty cool. Like for instance, if Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso mentions that he had, you know, rivalries and, you know, antagonists in the past, like Johnny Lawrence and Chosen, who are now his friends. So name dropping Chosen and Johnny Lawrence would be cool. Talking about this World Series of Karate that's supposed to be in the climax of the Cobra Kai show. I think even just mentioning that karate tournament, I think would be really important. So if they just do some subtle references to Cobra Kai and not just flat out ignore it, I think that'd be a really good nod to the fans. And again, well, this movie I'm still excited for. I'm cautiously optimistic. I know it's a Sony production, but Sony can do good work, but usually they don't. But anyways, yeah, I'm still excited, cautiously optimistic for this new Karate Kid movie. Well, anyways, that's enough of me rambling. Please enjoy this week's episode as my brother Danny and we dive into the Black Keys Ohio Players, their newest album, track by track, on the Casting for Fun podcast. Welcome back to the show, Danny. Danny, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm doing good. For the listeners who are paying attention or watching March Madness, they probably know that UConn won. So I won our bracket with our friends from church. That was kind of fun to actually win a sports betting thing online, because I never win these things. Oh, very cool. Very cool. I'm really excited to talk the Black Keys with you. This is going to be really cool. And this is kind of cool that it's as fresh gets, because the album's not even a week old yet. It was just released last Friday on April 5th, right?
Yeah, actually, I didn't even realize it came out until you told me, hey, have you listened to it yet? And I'll be on the podcast. And it's like, well, okay, I'll listen to it.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad you made the time to join me tonight. And of course, when it comes to like these track by track album review episodes, you're definitely one of my top guys I want to have on to talk about it. So thanks for coming on.
All right. Well, glad to be here.
Very cool. So this one's going to be a little interesting because, like, you know, with the other albums that I've done, like the classic ones, like for instance, you know, Incubus is A Crow Left of the Murder. I know that album like backwards and forwards. So if someone were to ask me, hey, can you talk about it for like, you know, 45 minutes or however long it is on a podcast, I would say, sure, absolutely. But the Black Keys, I mean, this new album, it's not even a week old. So there's not a whole lot of information out there. So I did take the time to gather what facts I could. But I think it's going to be more of us just kind of giving our takes of what we actually hear versus knowing the backgrounds of each song, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's starting off. It's very different from what they've done before, and be interesting to see what your take is on all of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Before we jump into this particular album from the Black Keys, Ohio Players, I wanted to just ask you about your history with the Black Keys. Do you remember how you got into the band? How you were first introduced to them?
I think I heard them in a movie. They had a song from Rubber Soul, and I didn't really pay much attention to them at the time. And I remember once I got into them and going back through their catalog, I remember hearing a lot of their songs like, oh yeah, that was from a commercial. I know they did a lot of commercials back in the day, but it really wasn't until Tighten Up came out that I was like, hey, this is a pretty cool band. Check them out. And got Brothers, and that was a phenomenal album. Then El Camino came out, and that was great as well.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I think I was kind of the same. Like I didn't really, if I heard one of their songs, I might have thought it was cool, but not really like piece it together who they were. But then when the Brothers album came out and then Tighten Up got played, a lot of airplay on K-Rock, it was really cool. And then my buddy Marcelo was really into the band too. So I think he highly recommended them at the time back in 2009, 2010, I want to say. But yeah, and then since then they've come up with some really cool albums, including this one. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Ohio Players, again, as we discussed, just released this past April 5th, this past Friday, and features collaborations from notable artists like Beck and Noel Gallagher, right? So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and you can definitely hear their influence throughout the album as well. So, I mean, again, there's a lot of influences, and they take a lot of I don't know samples, but like they take like chord progressions from different songs as well. It'd be interesting to talk about those as well. I don't know if you caught it else.
You know what? I've only listened to the whole thing like twice all the way through, and then a few times some of the singles that they've released I've heard several times. So this is going to be interesting. Let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll just give the best take that we can on an album that's really, really fresh and just brand new. So here we go. This is track number 1 from Ohio Players. This is Nowhere. First song on the new album, This Is Nowhere. What did you think of this particular song? Is this one that really resonated with you at first listen? I mean, this is one of the first one that's co-written by Beck.
Yeah, it was. So from what I've gathered, they've described this album as their Saturday night party album, and I think this is kind of like start of the night. You're going out with your friends, just driving around. Going nowhere in particular, I guess, someplace. You're just going on an adventure, and I kind of think that captures that spirit of their fun album perfectly. This is something that you can go around sing with your friends. It's got a nice groovy bass in it. So yeah, it's very different from what they usually do, but I like it.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. And at the same time, even though it is different, it kind of sounds sort of familiar. I mean, again, so the two main guys, Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney, I think they kind of have their flavor, their style, what they like to implement into their albums, and we're going to get into that later on this album in particular with some of the other songs. But yeah, this one, I think, like you mentioned, I think it's a good way just to kind of kick things off. And yeah, you can, as you mentioned, you can kind of hear like the influence from Beck. In fact, is that some of his background vocals sort of, I think, that I can kind of hear?
Yeah, I think he does some background vocals on this one.
Yeah, on this one, one of the songs you can hear him very prominently, and we'll get to that song eventually. But yeah, I think this was the third single that was released as a single just last month in March. So great way to start it out, I think.
Yeah, it's the perfect opener.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and jump into track number 2. This is Don't Let Me Go.
On a desert road with no way home, I was lost and alone. I begged
So that's track number 2, Don't Let Me Go. This one's very interesting too. It kind of has like the old school like retro feel or style to the song, like almost like disco-esque, if you will,
Yeah.
right?
I think it also matches what the album cover looks like a lot too. As the because that also has the retro 60s, 70s look to it. This little with this Lady Bowling. So I think that kind of matches what the album looks like. But yeah, I do get that 60s, 70s vibes, kind of funk / disco.
Yeah, in fact, I was gonna ask about that too. So the album covers, yeah, Lady Bowling, and it looks very like retro style, like the way you described, Yanni. To me, it also kind of seems that I always associated bowling with Ohio, right? And the band's from Akron, Ohio. So it kind of just seems that maybe bowling for them was kind of a big deal. In fact, the next song we're gonna get to, we're gonna talk a little bit more about bowling too.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see that how you see that. I don't know if that's just like a slide at Ohio where there's not much to do but bowling, but no disrespect there. I mean, bowling's fun or can be fun,
Mhm.
unless you get really competitive and you're not very good at it. But
I'll have to
yeah,
ask Allison about that because actually Allison grew up and lived in Ohio for a little bit with her family. So, oh, very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into track number 3, Beautiful People Stay High. This was the very first single from this record, which was just released as a single back in January. So it's not even that old, but it feels like I've been listening to it for a while because I really dig the song. So here we go. Track number 3, Beautiful People Stay High.
Been to begin once again, just a friend on the wind seeking shelter. There's a crack in the sky and a light from on high, and higher when I'm with her.
That's track number 3, Beautiful People Stay High. Yeah, the second I heard this song, I just immediately fell in love with it. I thought this song was really, really cool. It sounds like something that could have been on El Camino, right? I think the same kind of like rock and party vibes at the same time.
Yeah, it's not my personal favorite from the album.
Oh, really?
I think this
Oh,
is
okay.
a little too poppy for my taste. But I think this is also the most poppy song on the album. But yeah, it definitely could be something you found on El Camino. It's just missing the guitar. I think a lot of the songs are missing the guitar on like the guitar solo and the heavy garage rock sound that they're known for, which is fine. I think that's the stylistic choice that they're making. But yeah, this the song doesn't really hit with me that well.
Oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough. I'm glad you share your opinion with that. But yeah, what I like is actually there's a lyric from the song that I really enjoy. I want to read it really fast. It says, "Time I've been gone, I've been struggling alone, keeping all my demons to myself. I'm saving my grace for that heavenly place to the sun. I will sing you my song." This really kind of like harkens to kind of like maybe a lyrical content that Beck would have written. In fact, sure enough, he was one of the contributors to this song. So yeah, everything about it I thought was just well done with this particular song. As you mentioned, it's not necessarily one of the hard hitting rock songs, but I think it did have a good rock vibe to it with mixing, I guess, elements of pop. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites on this album.
Yeah, well, I do kind of like the lyrics. It's kind of kind of don't want to say like it's superficial, just looking for other people that are good looking, but kind of looking for people that are similar to you, that you're not being alone and you don't have to go, because there's a lot of themes about being alone, even though this is supposed to be like a happy, upbeat album, but they do have their signature like more down or like not depressing but sadder lyrics that they're known for.
Yeah, yeah. So in a way, I guess you can make the argument that anybody can be the beautiful people, and you should say hi. So
Yeah,
There you go. And then going back to what we were talking about earlier, so there was a music video for this album, for this song rather. This is the first single, and yeah, it's just the band like just goofing around bowling with their friends, which kind of seems like whatever it is that you guys enjoy doing with your group of buddies. I think it's the best thing to do. So bowling for me isn't necessarily one of my big hobbies, but it's probably because I suck at it. But
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm not very good at it either, but yeah, as long as you're with the right people, then anything could be fun.
Yeah, yeah. So very cool. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to track number 4. This is On the Game, and there's some very interesting backstory and story involving this particular song. So we'll jump into the song first, and then we'll jump into that backstory for it. So this is track number 4. Track number 4, On the Game.
Shake my tambourine. I look up at a movie screen and dream away. Where I feel no pain, 'cause everybody's on the game. They keep you howling at the rain. That's how we know we're all the same. The joy,
Track number 4, On the Game, the first song on this album that's co-written by Noel Gallagher of Oasis. So I think it kind of has a little bit of the Oasis flavor to it, like the rhythms and the guitar work that we hear in this particular song, right?
Yeah, the intro is very much Britpop, and yeah, you can tell that it's written by Noel Gallagher.
Yeah. So the music video for the song is very interesting. But again, here's the thing. If you're not a hardcore fan of the Black Keys, you may not have known this. In fact, I didn't know this either until I started researching the album. But so the music video for their song Lonely Boy features this random black guy named Derek Tuggle, who's just standing. Are you familiar with this story, Yanni?
Yes.
Oh, you're okay. So he's just standing outside of a motel and just randomly dancing. And it's just one camera shot of him just dancing to the song of Lonely Boy from the album El Camino. And apparently he developed quite a big fan following, even though he's just, randomly dancing awkwardly to this Black Keys song. And anyway, so for whatever reason, the band decided to do a music video paying homage and tribute to him with this song On the Game, which I guess kind of deals with like the concept of individuals dealing with the fallout of being a one-hit wonder, as it were, right?
Yeah. From what I understand, like, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but On the Game was like a term used for prostitution in the UK back in the day. And so I guess you can say like kind of like similar to what you were saying, but he doesn't want to, because in the music video, he doesn't want to do it at first. He doesn't want to do the dancing anymore. So he doesn't want to do it.
And then also, sorry to cut you off, Danny, but so the guys from the Black Keys, Dan and Patrick, they're like reaching out to him, like, hey, you got to come back, do another video with us. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Like his pool boy, he's living in a mansion, so it seems like he's well off, but his pool boy's like doing the dance, and then he has to send his lawyer to give a cease and desist order. It's just really, really funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's kind of feeling like he doesn't want to do that for the money that he's known for. He wants to, because he's also trying to write a song during the video.
Yeah.
So I think he's also trying to like prove that he's more than just the dancing that he was doing in Lonely Boy.
Yeah. So it's actually, I mean, it's kind of poignant too, at the same time, also being very tongue in cheek and funny. And to the fact that he's just getting like random fan mail. Some of it's like hate mail, like he gets a hate letter from Tony Hawk saying that he sucks, which is kind of funny.
You sold out.
and then you're a sellout. And then he gets a random letter from like a mom who's like saying, hey, my kids love you, they worship you. And she includes a picture of her kids, and they're dressed just like him, wearing like, khaki black pants and like a dress shirt. So then finally he decides, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'll dance again for the Black Keys for one of their music videos. He goes back to the exact same location of the motel from the first video of Lonely Boy. And then the motel manager tells them, oh no, sorry, they found somebody else. And it's Tony Hawk.
Yeah. I love that. That's when I didn't realize that I never seen the Lonely Boy video until after I was researching this as well.
Uh-huh.
And once I found that out, I was just in love with the song.
Yeah. So the song itself, I mean, even though I think it's really cool, I think the music video and just the message behind it, like we just kind of discussed, I think kind of elevates it to being a higher level, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is probably definitely the next single, if it's not already released.
I would imagine it would be, since they already did a music video for it. In fact, it was kind of odd to me that it hasn't been released as a single, even though they did do the video. But like we discussed, it just seems like the lyrical content of this song matches the message that they want to convey with this video, and that this guy Derek Tuggle was able to find some work again, right? So I guess he does like low budget sci-fi movies or something of that nature. But
yeah,
okay. Oh, very cool, very cool. So yeah, track number 4 on the game. It's definitely a must listen to on this record. Let's go ahead and jump into track number 5 now. This is Only Love Matters. Track number 5, Only Love Matters. This one's also co-written by Noel Gallagher, and it kind of does have that again, like we were just discussing with on the game, like that really like Brit pop rock like feel to it. In fact, even the title Only Love Matters, it kind of like harkened to like the
John Lennon.
John Lennon, thank you. I was trying to think on his name. John Lennon, All You Need Is Love. So kind of like the same kind of vibes I think I kind of get a little bit, not maybe Beatles-esque per se, but just the title and dealing with themes of love. I think it kind of like you can definitely see the influence from Noel Gallagher on this song.
Yeah, this is more of a older Britpop song. Definitely more of the retro, like what was the other one? Don't Let Me Go.
Yeah.
But this one's a little bit more poppier than that one. It's fine.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. I mean, even though I think the song's pretty good, I didn't have a ton of information on this one either. But
yeah, I mean, lyrically, it's a good message. You know, everyone needs love in their life, and don't isolate yourself. Just go out and find it.
Okay, very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into track number 6, Candy and Her Friends. This one's also kind of interesting too, as far as like the composition of Black Keys songs for those who may not be familiar. So we'll dive into it a little bit more after we hear this track here.
Candy and her friends, always one up in you. Here we go again. Candy and her friends. Yeah. Yeah. Know what I say when I'm listening but not listening. If you listening. Hey. Bet if I said it, I made it all live. Bet if I cooked it, I made it all right. Can I get the truth? I mean without the lies. I wanna get to know you. I mean with no disguise. I see the pain in your heart and the deceit in your eyes. I was stuck on your vibe, but then I realized. See, you got a passion for being photogenic, and you pull out my soul like I've been apprehended. Adrenaline high, I feel short-winded.
So that's track number 6, Candy and Her Friends. So this one's kind of interesting for those who may not be familiar or know this about the Black Keys. For a good while, they were doing collaborations with smaller, lesser known hip hop artists to actually kind of do like a mix of rap and rock. They did a whole album called Black Rock. which featured like tons of guest appearances where the hip hop artists were doing all the singing and rapping, and they were just playing their background music. So it was kind of a cool mashup. But I mean, sometimes it's I guess it could be an acquired taste, right? As far as like the mashups that they do with hip hop and rock. Is that a style that you like, that combination?
The Black Rock album is good. I like it. The one thing I did like wish that they didn't and they do in this song is have dancing more.
Mm-hmm.
So like I like that he does sing and then it goes into the rap verse by Little Noid. That's actually a very smooth transition because it's the song that we listened to was very upbeat and sing alongable, and then it gets to a more of like a I don't know how to describe it, but just kind of a slower groove when he starts rapping, and it's just that transition is just really smooth. Actually, the only thing I want to point out on this song as well is this is the only song on the album where there's no collaborations. It's just the two members of Black Keys that write it.
Oh yeah, that's actually very interesting. So, I mean, there were actually articles that I was kind of reading online that were kind of speculating as to why they would bring in the additional artists. I haven't really read much specifically, so the reason why, but a lot of people were just kind of just like saying, hey, I mean, you guys are already pretty well established. Do you really need Beck and Noel Gallagher? To me, it kind of seems it goes along with the lines that we were talking about with track number 3, Beautiful People, just, hanging out with your buddies. So I'm assuming that the Black Keys guys are friends with Beck and Noel Gallagher and wanted to actually work with them, not necessarily that they needed to, right?
Yeah, I believe they went on tour with Beck in their early days, and they've been wanting to work with him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of decided, now's the time to really collaborate with people. They write a lot of songs with a lot of different people, and they said maybe it's time for us to bring people in to write songs with us.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
A lot of these songs do sound like Beck wrote a Black Keys song, or Noel Gallagher wrote a Black Keys song.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that brings up the whole Ohio Players. They were a funk band, right? Like
yeah.
So like it's kind of a tribute to them that they're.
No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So yeah, it's again just the importance of collaborations, because I think you can reach new musical heights that you maybe not have been able to otherwise, or even just simply have fun, which I think a lot of artists want to do, and that's why they get into this profession. A little bit about the Little Noid guy. He has some good rapping vocals on him. It's pretty cool. But like you mentioned, the transition from the smoother rock into his raps are actually pretty good. I just didn't really like the name though. I mean, I don't know why hip hop artists sometimes select the names that they do. I just imagine like he's a small version of like that Domino's mascot guy who was right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't really never heard the name before, but it is kind of cool that the Black Keys like to reach out to these like smaller hip hop artists that are kind of more independent, like they used to be, as far as like being indie rock band.
Yeah, it's cool that they reached out to at least. I don't know, maybe we're wrong, and these guys, he's well known, but it's nice that he reached out to work for someone less known.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into track number 7 now. This is the only cover. So again, the Black Keys did a cover album a few years ago that was really cool. Delta Cream, like a really cool like southern like blues rock album, which I highly recommend people check out if you haven't. But anyway, so they do a cover of a song called "Did I Forget to Be Your Lover?" So let's jump into the song right now.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Well, if I didn't, then I'm sorry. Did I reach out and hold you in my loving arms? Oh, when you needed me. Now I realize that you need love too, and I spend my life making up to you.
Actually, my apologies to the listeners. Technically, the song is called "I Forgot to Be Your Lover." Not "Did I Forget to Be Your Lover," but I mean, minor difference thing. Yeah, this is a really smooth, really cool song. Like a very soulful R&B. So you can tell the influence that the Black Keys were drawing from. A couple of interesting facts about this particular song. So as previously mentioned, it's a cover by R&B artists William Bell and Booker T. Jones.
If I didn't, darling, I'm sorry. Did I reach out and hold in my loving arms? Oh, when you needed me. Now I realize that you need love too. I'll spend my life making up to
It's been covered by a number of different artists in subsequent years, like legendary reggae producer Lee Scratch Perry, who's done great work with a lot of reggae artists like Bob Marley and even more contemporary like hip hop artists like the Beastie Boys. He produced this song for a couple of the reggae artists back in the 70s. And then maybe a little more well-known or famous for those who are fans of Billy Idol, he did a cover of this song, but he reworked it a little bit to be called "To Be Your Lover" is the name of the song that he did. Very kind of like a 80s like Billy Idol style rock, but taking the exact same like tone and rhythm of the song with similar lyrics.
Have I told you, little that I love you? If I didn't, darling, you see I'm so sorry. Didn't I reach out and hold you in your loving arms? Well, if I didn't, baby, well, I'm so sorry. When I realize that you need love too, gonna spend my life making love to you. Have mercy.
So this was an interesting song, I thought. Interesting pick on their part, the guy part of the Black Keys, to choose to cover this song, right?
Yeah, I mean, soul music is very influential in their early work, along with the blues. I do enjoy the song. I was glad that it was a single. It's just a little too short. I think they could have again used a really a cool bluesy guitar solo at the end or in the middle of it would have been perfect.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into track number 8 now. This is "Please Me Till I'm Satisfied." This song's really cool with the beginning drum work. It actually starts like getting like really awesome sounding with the drum work that the band put it into this song, and it's a pretty cool rock song after that too. So I enjoyed this song. I kind of wish it got a little heavier hitting because it seems to start out really cool, right?
Yeah, Patrick does very good drum work on this one. Also, yeah, I wish they had more of a guitar sound on this. This is probably the closest to what people might consider a Black Keys song on the album. I do enjoy it. It's a good song. Again, wish there was more guitar work on it.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into track number 9. This is "You'll Pay," another one that's co-written by Noel Gallagher. number 9, You'll Pay, co-written by Gallagher. Very retro feel to this particular song. Like it has a little bit of horns, some piano as well. So this one's kind of a groovy kind of song. I think it's pretty good. But again, it's one of those that I think could be depending on your musical taste. This one could be a little either really enjoyable for certain people, or certain people may not like it as much for not being as hard hitting rock sound, right?
Yeah, it's definitely softer, much like the rest of the album. But one of the things that I don't think we've touched upon much is Dan singing, where he does a lot of falsetto on this song.
Yeah,
it's one of my complaints about the album is that I think he does a lot of falsetto throughout the whole album.
Mhm.
So I think I could have done without it, but I think this is the song where I think it works the best, just with the groove of it.
Yeah, and I think the retro feel, it really kind of it meshes really good for being that kind of older style song, because a lot of those bands from 50s, early 60s, they kind of had that high pitch falsetto sound like you just mentioned.
Yeah. Another thing, at the beginning, I don't know if you agree, but I kind of get a Rock the Casbah feel to it.
Oh yeah, I can hear that for sure. Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if that's what they intended, or if that's just kind of a happenstance, but I could see that's something that Noel probably included in the songwriting.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so now we're going to get to an interesting song as well. This is track number 10, Paper Crown, featuring Beck and rapper Juicy J. So again, another one of those hip hop artists, so it's kind of strange names. Anyways, yeah, Paper Crown. This is a cool song. Let's jump into this one now.
What you gonna do? Tell your mama, gonna ride it on through. You walk on splinters, slipping on nails. Come on, let your head down, running over the rails. Get up, babe, bring it down. Let me see you, baby, crown. Get up, babe, bring it down. See you, baby, crown. I wanna see your baby crown. And let me see you shake your body to the ground. I'll be okay with baby crown. Oh, let me see you shake your body to the ground.
So that's track number 10, Paper Crown. I really like this song quite a bit. The instrumentation that the band uses, I think is very unique and really cool. To me, this song kind of sounds like something the Beastie Boys would have done on their album Paul's Boutique. Because it has has some keyboards in it. It's got scratching of the turntables, a really cool bass line as well. So kind of it's got a good mixture of rock and hip hop kind of thrown in together, a little bit of blues and soul as well. So a mesh of multiple musical genres together mesh perfectly. And then we eventually get to the rapping chorus from this guy Juicy J, who I've heard of before, but again and then of course with this song we get Beck's vocals as well that you can prominently hear. So this is one of my favorite standout tracks from this record.
Yeah, actually I think it sounds like a Gorillaz song.
Oh, I can kind of hear that too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Beck sings a couple of verses. They have a good mixture of the rap and then with Dan singing as well. It's a good upbeat song, and then it does the same thing that does the other one did. Candy and Her Friends, where it kind of just does a transition into a different beat, and again that transition is just smooth. And if you have a chance to listen to the whole thing, what they do, how they mix the rapping with Dan singing is exactly how I'd want if they did another Black Rock to do, would be where they have the rapping and then also Dan singing the chorus as well.
Very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into track number 11. This is Live Till I Die.
I wanna talk to the silver sun, run through the jungle with the candy gun, write my name Spain. Hell on wheels with the heavens rise. Let the daylight fade in my eyes.
So that's track number 11, Live Till I Die. Another one that's co-written by Beck. I really like the beginning of the song and throughout the whole song itself. I think it's got a harder rock sound. Not again, still kind of missing like the solo, the really lengthy solo as you mentioned earlier, Danny. In fact, this song is also kind of on the shorter side too. It's only like 2.5 minutes long, if that. But again, that being said, I still think this is one of the best rock sounding songs on this album.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest riff that they have so far. I think probably on the whole album. I don't think the rest of them have as hard of a riff, but actually this song it sounds exactly like Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young.
I'm not familiar with that song. No.
Oh no, it's like the intro and then like the vocal melody is exactly the same.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I mean, because I can like insert stuff into the podcast, I think I'm gonna put it in right now, and let the audience, the listeners, you decide for yourself if you think it does or not.
I wanna live with a cinnamon girl. I can be happy the rest of my life with a cinnamon girl. A dreamer of pictures, I run in the night.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Very cool. So let's go ahead and jump into track number 12. This is Read 'em and Weep. Number 12, Read 'em and Weep. The surf rock vibes from this song are really cool, right? Really cool reverb that artists like Dick Dale would be like well known for using. I think what they were kind of going for with this particular song. So it's definitely different than anything else we've heard thus far, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I really love that they did a surf rock. They've done a lot of different genres from the 60s and 70s, and now they did the surf rock, and then you get to that guitar solo, kind of makes me want a quarter pounder of cheese.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. What I actually like as well is like even just the title of the song, Read 'em and Weep, which I think we often associate with like poker. Like, if you have a really good hand and you're about to show your hand, that's kind of the way you would taunt and like, talk smack to your opponents across the table. Hey, read 'em and weep. I got like a royal flush or whatever the best hand is in poker. I don't know. I don't play poker. but actually, even though that's what we kind of associate that phrase with, I think this particular song deals more with like revenge. So I guess like, to the point where like, you're ready to show your hand to those who have done you wrong. And this is my revenge. Bam, here you go. I'm hitting you with it. So this is a kind of cool rock song, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely about revenge, and they gotta weep what they sow. The person's gotta have the consequences now. Whatever they did, lied or cheated to the singer of the song. Now, they got the consequences.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into track number 13. This is Fever Tree. track number 13, Fever Tree. I really love this song too. This song, I think it's got a really good rock sound to it. And it's interesting, the lyrical content as well, the title of the song. So I did a little research just to kind of find out a little bit more because I was just curious what a fever tree is. Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
No, actually, I was trying to find that out myself, and I did it really quick, and I couldn't find anything.
Oh, no worries at all. So this could be entirely speculation on my part, but I love though, like, you know, going back to last week's episode with Fernando when we were talking about Pink Floyd's The Division Bell, that David Gilmour has said that, you know what, the lyrics for my songs could really be up to open interpretation, whatever you people want to kind of draw from it, and this is how you interpret it and see it. That's awesome. I think artists really like that. And I even kind of brought up that same point when I talked about Incubus is the Correlates of the Murder a few months ago with my buddy Davis. But so that being said, for me, when I looked up the concept of fever tree, apparently fever trees were I guess trees that were seen by early European settlers coming over to the United States, where due to like the swampy areas, I'm guessing like places like Louisiana, areas like that, the South, where the trees, you would actually contact malaria. So that I guess due to the swamp conditions. So there are like certain trees that would be known to, like, if you're around these trees, you're probably going to get sick from malaria and eventually die. So I kind of interpret the song as being like a death tree, or a fever tree as being a death tree. And it kind of seems like the lyrics of the song are kind of talking about, like, you know, you're going to bury me at the death tree. So it's almost kind of like, you know, like as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, like talking about lyrics of like depression and like death and like the end of your life, kind of like going out in a blaze, if you will, as far as rock and roll music is concerned. So that's kind of what I gathered from this particular song. It could be that my interpretation's way off, but that being said, I think it's a really cool sounding rock song. And if that is in fact the message they were kind of going for, I think it's actually a really cool, like maybe your really cool rock message to go with.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite song on the album. I think this is peak Black Keys, similar to Brothers in El Camino. I do have a couple of points. I think you're kind of my interpretation is kind of similar to yours, but to me, it kind of the beginning part of the song kind of describing a one night stand with someone, and they're leaving the next day, and the person that comes is kind of doing it just so like they can get it out of their system, but that's not what happens to the main character. And it's just kind of worse. And I guess you can see that, like, he's feeling like he's being buried at the fever tree because he experienced something that he probably is never going to experience again. Another thing is that this song actually also sounds like a song by Status Quo called Pictures of Matchstick Men. So I don't know if you've heard that one, but that one sounds like this as well. I also think it's a cross between that song and Little Black Submarines.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I can definitely hear that from the El Camino. That's definitely one of the best songs on that album.
Yeah. So I really do like the song. It's my favorite on the album.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Okay, and also just to bring up as well, this one was also co-written by Beck. So again, his influence has been all over the
music from people.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've reached the very end of the album. Track number 14. One more song co-written by Beck. This one is called Every Time You Leave.
Every time you walk away, I wonder if I'm going down today. I'm in the ground with the hounds of hell, patiently waiting. I'm on my knees and I start to pray. See, I don't have nothing good to say. Is it a sin to love a sinner? Who's gonna save me? Every time you leave, you know I'm gonna lose my way. You don't believe it. Look at how I'm living.
So that's the final song on the album, Every Time You Leave, co-written by Beck again. Really great rock sound as well. Not a whole lot I had about this particular song. I guess just every time you leave, I guess it could be referring to a loved one or someone who's leaving someone's life and what they're feeling as a result of them leaving. But yeah, just simply put, I think this is just a really cool rock song to end this album.
Yeah, yeah. Lyrically, I think it's definitely about what happens when someone leaves. And again, the person's probably feeling alone and isolated, and it's rather happy you're around other people. But this is another song that has influence from other artists. So the lyrical melody is exactly the same as "That's All" by Genesis.
Oh, okay, not familiar with that song either. Nah.
Yeah, that one like just dun 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 dun, dun or however it went.
Uh-huh.
I'm not good at that singing, but yeah, it's exactly the same. It's just without the distorted guitars.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, that's Ohio Players by the Black Keys. I mean, as fresh as it gets because it was just released last Friday, April 5th. So I'm happy that we got to sit down and I talk about something that's brand new so that people who I'm sure people are familiar with the Black Keys, heard the name and probably recognize them from the albums Brothers and El Camino. But for those who maybe been kind of on the fence or haven't really been listening too much to their newer stuff, I mean, I hope you guys enjoy Danny and I discussing this particular album track by track. Really quick. So a writer from the magazine Forbes, a gentleman by the name of Steve Balton, he actually picked this as his favorite Black Keys album yet. He thinks this is the best one they've done. Where does this one stand for you? I mean, as far as like going through their entire catalog of music.
I think it's probably along the same lines as what is it called? The one after El Camino.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. It has like that swirl on it.
Yeah, Turn Blue.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably along the same lines as well. It's not as I don't think it's as good as Brothers or El Camino or even some of their other earlier albums. But that said, like I said, I think there's too much falsetto and not enough guitar. But that's just me, and I have no doubt that this is the album that those guys wanted to make. It may not be for the fans, even though the fans will like it. It's definitely something that they wanted to do, and I do applaud them for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So as we've discussed many times or mentioned many times on this podcast, it seemed like they're having just a blast recording this album, recording and collaborating with their friends and using the various musical influences, the wide range of influences that they enjoy and incorporating it all into 14 tracks of music. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I mean, for newer Black Keys albums, I think this one's really good. I kind of would put Let's Rock as maybe like the best of like their newer stuff. In fact, when Let's Rock came out in 2019, I actually picked that as my favorite of the year. For this one, I mean, this one's really, really good. I feel there's some great songs, and then even the songs that I think are just kind of like pretty good, not too shabby. I don't think there's a bad song on this album, to be honest. But
no, it may not be for everyone, but it's enjoyable. It's a good listen at least once.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So for that being said, I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to talk about this album with you and that we get to talk about something that's brand new. It's a good away a little bit from the norm of just doing a classic album that I know people know really well. If somebody listened to this podcast and decided, hey, I need really check out the Black Keys, then that's really awesome. And, perfect. I'm glad that you got that experience from listening to this podcast. That's pretty much all the material I had for tonight, Danny. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up or add about the Black Keys?
Yeah. I heard that they had I know that for and all the pre-released material interviews and articles that they were talking about a song that they collaborated with Alice Cooper that wasn't on this album.
Oh,
so
I didn't hear about that. No.
Yeah, I did a little digging in this. It seems I don't know how accurate this is, but it seems like they had 29 songs completed. So I think they're at least planning an EP this year, another one. But it may, if they did 29 songs, then they have enough material for another LP this year. So we'll see if they release something else.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers did that a few years ago in 2021 when they released, was it 2021 or no, 2022, I think 2022 when they released Unlimited Love. And then the Dream Cantina, whichever that second one was called, like all of a sudden they announced, hey, we have a second new album coming out this same year, which was like, wow, really cool. But that second album, I didn't think was quite as good. But regardless, so yeah, new music from bands that we love, it's always welcome. And yeah, I'm really excited if they do have another album coming out very, very soon. It seems like they've been busting out these new albums pretty quick. Like the Let's Rock was 2019. They had the Delta Cream like cover album in 2021. And then 2 years ago, 2022, they did the Dropout Boogie. So they've been pretty consistent in hitting it like, just every couple of years for a new album. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of a sudden they have something either later this year or sometime next year.
Yeah, we'll keep an ear out for that.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so there's nothing else. We'll go ahead and wrap up. But for the listeners, I hope you've enjoyed us, Danny and I, talking about the Black Keys, talking about this new album. And Danny, it's always a blast to have you on to talk about music, and we'll do this again very, very soon.
All right, looking forward to it.
Okay, thanks everybody. You've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast. Have a good night.